Okay, so welcome to week 9 of the weekly Monday masterclasses, except of course when they don't happen on a Monday. And today you can see the jolly picture of a mouldy orange. But is this your heart? Because mould can be a hidden cause of, well, not just your heart disease, but all kinds of problems. So there you go, that was my original slide. Is your heart mouldy? Now, the purpose of my masterclasses is to help you go from goal setting to goal getting. It's to educate and inspire as well, because I want everyone that I know to be happier and healthier by the end of this year, if not the end of this week. And that's a little bit about me. So I'm just going to speed through these next slides just in case this is the first time watching. You can actually then slow down and see all these other things. But what we're going to be covering today, symptoms of mold toxicity, which is pretty much endless, so I'm just going to say anything. How we get mold out of your body, what are mycotoxins, how they damage the health, how to diagnose it, and in fact, how to get rid of is in there twice. So there we go. Just leave it to the once. Okay, and then so that's what we're going to cover today, and hopefully you're going to have some actions that you can take whether or not you decide to enlist my help or not. You'll have something that you feel confident in doing. And just a reminder, one of my favorite quotes, it's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And again, if you want to read one of my favorite Buckminster Fuller quotes, you can pause and go ahead. Some of the stuff we're going to be covering over the next year: mental performance mastery, benefits of using the Heroic app from heroic.us. There you go, there are the benefits. The Heroic protocol we're going to be covering, the soul force equation. We're going to be going through a lot of the magnificent 7 health strategies for optimal health, wellness and protection, or we can actually narrow it down to the fantastic functional 3: functional movement, functional nutrition, and functional philosophy or functional thought. So on with today's show. Remember, I'm going fast because you can re-watch this at any time, and I like to just not get too much stuck in fluff. So now, what if there was something that was causing your cardiovascular disease, or your gastrointestinal disease, or your immunological problems, or your musculoskeletal conditions, or your genitourinary, or your neurological, or your pulmonary, or your dermatologic, or your endocrine, or your gynecologic problems? Because all of these things, cardiovascular disease, immunology problems, they're actually signs and symptoms. Even though there are signs and symptoms that help head you towards the fact that you've got cardiovascular problems, even that doesn't actually tell you, well, what's causing the cardiovascular problems, what's causing the lung problems. You need to dig deeper. Now, unfortunately, most medical doctors, and just I want to be absolutely clear that I've actually learned from medical doctors who used to practice the way that they used to practice, and now they practice a new way. Instead of just thinking it's all down to genetics or bad luck, or a lack of drugs or a lack of surgeries, or rather they just don't know, some doctors actually dig deeper, much, much, much deeper, which brings us to today's topic: mold. Mold, you've seen it on walls, you've seen it all kinds of places in buildings, you've seen it in your bathroom, but it affects us too, mainly because as they reproduce, they actually cause, I'm not going to draw, basically they can actually release spores into the air and we start breathing them in, but they can get everywhere, these mold spores. So we can breathe them in, they can come in from the food, we can get them on our skin, and our skin absorbs them as well. So there's a lot of ways to get mold into your body, and there's a lot of places you can get them from as well. Now, conditions and symptoms associated with mycotoxin exposure, I'm not going to read all these out. You can actually have a read of this yourself. This came from Dr. Jack Wilson, who I learned a lot of my stuff about heart disease from. So anything from simple fatigue and weakness. Let's have a little draw, because I do like a little draw here. So anything from as simple as fatigue and weakness. So chronic burning in the throat and nasal passages, coughing and wheezing. So again, if you've got stuff in your lungs, yeah, but also skin rashes, eye irritation, headaches, hearing loss, irregular heartbeats, morning stiffness or joint pain, muscle problems, sleep problems, memory problems, vision changes. I mean, it's difficult, which we're going to get back to, difficulty concentrating, abdominal pain, skin sensations, urinary frequency, disorientation, static shocks. I mean, or metallic taste in the mouth. It just goes on and on and on and on. There's all kinds of problems. Let me just now. So that basically pretty much covers it. So that includes heart disease as well. I want to get out of the drawer. So I want to get out of the drawer situation. There we go. Good. And then I realize I don't need that slide. Lyme disease. So what are mycotoxins? Well, mycotoxins are the things that are produced by mold, whether you spell mold the American way or the English way. And so mycotoxins can be excreted in lots of different ways. And then they get into our body, whether we breathe them in, whether we've eaten them, whether we've drunk them, they get into our body. And there are lots of different types of mycotoxins. And they interfere with all kinds of different processes in the body. But when it comes to the heart, so when we're talking about actin protein, basically it's very, very important for all kinds of things. Cell division, locomotion, formation of surface protections. And so it can cause, if you're causing problems at a cellular level, you can cause problems in any part or organ of the body. Mycotoxin can cause leaky gut. And so if you have a leaky gut, that allows food, undigested food, into the inside of your body, which can then ferment, and that starts causing all kinds of problems all by itself separately. So mycotoxin can start the problem, then leaky gut can finish it off. But there are lots of different types of mycotoxins. Aflatoxins, which for instance are very commonly found on peanuts, which is why peanuts can be such a problem for so many people, because of the aflatoxins. But you also find them in coffee and other things as well. So aflatoxins are one type, and aflatoxin B, for instance, lowers glutathione and superoxide dismutase, two very, very, very important chemicals when it comes to protecting you from whatever life throws at you. Important for the brain, important for your nervous system, important for your liver, your kidneys. And so if you've got a chemical called aflatoxin B inside you, lowering glutathione and SOD, you're in problems. And luckily, something in tomatoes, lycopene, helps protect you. There you go. Yeah, aflatoxin B1 actually affects the cardiac muscles basically and cells. And then there's something called citrinin. It's found in different kinds of food, very toxic to the kidney, liver, and many other cell lines. Okay, it's found in grains, but also sometimes in fruits and other plant products. So you're seeing everywhere. Now there's a number of things that citrinin's actually related to, but it also, this toxin is an inhibitor of cholesterol synthesis, which led to statin drugs, and is one of the reasons why statin can cause so many problems in some people, because they're related to a toxin, which is why one particular statin was removed. There we go. So then there's another one called ochratoxin. So this basically has effects on, again, it's toxic to everything, the brain, the liver, the kidneys, it's carcinogenic, inhibits energy production, all kinds of problems. You don't need to know all of this. I'm just trying to give you everything in a, overload you with information, really immerse you in how toxic these things are. Ochratoxin interacts with nitric oxide synthase. Nitric oxide synthase is very, very important when it comes to heart disease and blood pressure. You don't want it out of control. Gliotoxin, there's just, you're going to see there's more, but they penetrate through the body everywhere. And this is why food manufacturers actually have so many other foods tested for molds, because molds are one of the most toxic, or mycotoxins are one of the most toxic things in our natural environment. And we're coping with them all the time. Okay, so where are they coming from? Well, as you've already seen, they come from all kinds of different things. They could be in literally anything that you are eating or drinking or breathing. They're everywhere. Beer, there you go. So even beer isn't safe. Coffee beans as well, all over your home. Bathroom. Ooh, what's that? I don't know why that's there. Cut. Bathroom, in the attic, living room, laundry, kitchen. I mean, they can be in all kinds of different places. So you can look in the toilet, behind the toilet, make sure your towels are cleaned regularly at the right temperature. Non-ventilated areas. So if you're going into the attic, into the loft, possible unnoticed leaks may have happened. Living room, so carpets, electrical equipment apparently is written here. Windows, yes, around the window edges. Under the sink, behind the fridge, in the fridge, the dishwasher, and yeah, different parts in the laundry, some ductwork, ceiling tiles, and here you go, that's inside a washing machine as well. So there's all sorts of places. And so one of the first things, which I will get back to again later, is trying to find the source of the mold and clean it all up so that you're not reintroducing it to your body on a daily basis. Black mold, that's a common one you see around the house. And again, it is not very nice for your body. Affects lungs, muscles, all sorts of things. So do you actually have a problem with mold or mycotoxins? Well, first of all, you probably do have, we do all have some kind of mold in our body, but it's not so much a question of do you have mold, which is why I don't suggest you just, if you don't think you've got anything wrong, maybe it's not, don't do a test, basically. But if you've got symptoms, any of those symptoms, you've got any of these problems, you've got heart problems, whatever, then it might be worth having a test. Now, in the States, you can go to Vibrant. In the UK, Viva Health Labs. Now, I'm not sure if you would need a recommendation from me or not, because as you said, I don't really bother testing in this way for molds. It's like if you have symptoms and it looks like mold, then we treat it, because a test is going to cost you £360. And basically, you could just spend that money on doing a really good detox to see if you then get better. Because if you have mold, you're going to need to do a detox anyway. But the good news about lots of the detox is it's going to make so many other parts of your system work. It's going to help you pretty much anyway. But where mold tests can be helpful is if we need to go after one specific one more than others. So anyway, so I don't need this slide anymore. I'm going to get rid of that. There you go. So you can get a test done, urine test, and you can get blood tests as well and see what's in there. And then there's something called the visual contrast acuity test. Now, this is something that I do use in the clinic because it's found out that certain aspects of vision do actually go wrong when you don't have enough nutrition, or if there are certain toxins. So deficiencies in nutrition, neurotoxin exposure as a result of, for instance, mold. Okay, and it's a test that I can do here in the clinic. I've got the apparatus, I've got the eye charts, and this is basically, you're not going to be looking at the normal eye chart, you're going to be looking at these lines and seeing if you can see them, and then you tell me whether they're off to the left, to the right, or straight up. And if you can't see them, because it does get finer and finer, then there can be a problem. You can learn a little bit more at Surviving Mold, spelled the American way, survivingmold.com, about the visual, where's it go? Here you go, the visual contrast acuity test. There is an online version you can do, but it's actually better to do one actually in person. If you are local to the clinic, we can get that done for you. So what happens if you suspect, I did write this originally for Americans. Okay, what if you suspect you have molds or mycotoxins and you want to do something about it? Well, this is where it really follows on from last week's webinar about heavy metals and all the other toxins, because it's all about getting your system to detox. But as with all recurrent toxins, but especially with mold, first thing to do is not just do a detox, it's actually to clean up messes. Okay, look for leaks, look for damage, maybe get a professional home inspector if you suspect that you're getting reinfected with mold all the time. You need to eliminate those sources. Really good thing, which I recommend for so many different reasons, especially if you live within the M25, but pretty much even if you're out of the M25 and you're not in a city, an air purifier, especially for your bedroom. Air pollution causes heart disease, it causes dementia. It can actually lead to and cause more diabetes as well. Certain toxins are related, airborne toxins are related to actually increasing obesity. And also air purifiers help remove mycotoxins and spores from the air if you get the right ones. So get a good air purifier if you suspect mold and toxins, but also if you have a heart condition and you live in the M25, in fact, if you've got a health problem, full stop, or if you don't want to have a health problem, basically, if you live within the M25, get an air purifier, stick it in your bedroom, the room where you spend most of your time. And if it's one you can move around, move it into the room you're in. You also need to get plenty of sleep. Because, believe it or not, sleep does actually help you get rid of aflatoxins. Apparently, it does in chicks anyway. So better sleep, better removal of toxins from your body. And yes, you want to make sure that you're having an organic diet as much as possible, just like when you're doing any kind of detox. If you suspect you've got mold going into your body, you want to eat as healthily as possible. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of vegetables for fiber and other nutrients that you'll find in them, herbs and spices. Even though all these things can be sources of toxins, you still need to make sure it's as healthy as possible. Grains are a big one to avoid, but there you go. But yeah, try and get as organic as possible with everything that you can. Okay, and try and eat locally as well. Also very, very helpful. So this is Dr. Wolfson's paleo pyramid, but pretty much vegetables should be, everyone should have a mostly plant-based diet. They can get, again, plants come in here with avocados and coconut or olives, and they come in here with nuts and seeds, of course, and also plants in the fruit section as well. So again, lots and lots of different plants and varieties of. Honey can be particularly good, well, certainly in mice, so I assume in humans as well. So stuff that you find in citrus fruit, again, very important. Nigella seeds, black cumin seeds, again, great biological detoxifier. And again, been shown to help with blood pressure and blood sugar. Very, very good for blood pressure. So all kinds of things. Make sure your water is great. Dr. Wilson really recommends San Pellegrino because it's high in sulfur, which again, you'll find out why sulfur is going to be good for you. Saunas, again, sweating. There are some toxins that prefer to leave your body through sweating because it doesn't have to get out through the kidney or the liver. And yes, saunas have been shown to get rid of some things like ochratoxins, basically. So sweating on a regular basis, whether it's a sauna or whether it's because you exercise and then you sweat, very, very good idea. It's another reason why exercise is so good for us, because it makes us sweat out toxins of different kinds. Now, but most people, of course, they want some kind of shortcut miracle pill. Now, but to be honest, if you suspect mold, you've got to find the source and get rid of it. Okay, otherwise you're going to be on supplements forever. And while I think it is a good idea to be on some kind of supplementation of some sort forever, because I think our food supply is so rubbish, you don't want to have to be taking mold detox for the rest of your life. Now, what you need to do is you need to boost the 5 detox pathways. And I really want to highlight this because so many times when it comes to detoxification, only 1 or 2 pathways are really highlighted. You need to bind the toxins in the gut. This is so missed out. So many detoxes are just cleanses. They actually talk about, you just have I'm going on a vegetable juice detox. Yes, that can allow your body to get rid of toxins, but a lot of them can get reabsorbed in the gut again. And you can also take some things to try and kill the molds or other pathogens in the body as well. But what I'm going to focus on is getting all the pathways working, because this follows on so much from what I spoke about last week. So there are 5 main pathways. Now there's glutathione. Now lots of people talk about glutathione. I've done lots of stuff on glutathione. I think it's so important to raise glutathione. And it's so important for aflatoxins and ochratoxins. But then there's methylation, which I've spoken about as well, for some other toxins. Sulfonation for some other toxins. Acetylation for some other toxins. And then there's glucuronidation, which is important for so many different toxins. So if you're thinking of detox and you're just doing something glutathione and you suspect mold, you've got to really make sure that you've got all 5 pathways working. And really that's the same for any true detox. You really want to work on all 5 pathways: glutathione, sulfonation, acetylation, methylation, and glucuronidation. And I'll come back to supplements to help you soon. So again, there is some stuff. I mean, it's on, glutathione being very important. There are all kinds of different ways to boost glutathione. You can even get nebulizers these days. Yeah, it's all about glutathione supplementation. So silymarin. So again, now silymarin is an extract of milk thistle, and there are some things that are great for the liver and they're great for getting rid of some toxins, but they can actually stop and inhibit other parts of the detoxification process. One of them is milk thistle. So if you're actually after trying to get rid of specific toxins, milk thistle can be great. But if you're doing a general detox, it's actually best to avoid it. So this can be something you take in between the intense detoxes. Green tea polyphenols, again, they can be fantastic for detoxing specific things, but can actually inhibit overall detoxification. So yeah, all kinds of different plant extracts can be great for various different reasons. Curcumin, extract of turmeric, again, really good for specific toxins, but overall can actually inhibit the process of overall detoxification, but great for protection and great for various very specific things. Aluminosilicate, that's a type of clay, so we're talking binders now, so I've actually gone out of order there. Rutin, something you find in just about every single fruit and vegetable, but you can get it in supplement form, which now brings me on to the supplements. Yes, I know this is very small, but again, you'll see that there's all kinds of different things, but what I've also put down here for glutathione is artichokes, cruciferous vegetables, or the brassica vegetables as well. These are really 2 of the best things you can do for glutathione is artichokes, cruciferous vegetables, brassica vegetables. And then there are certain supplements that you can add in. I mean, you can take glutathione, NAC. Why isn't NAC down there? NAC, glutathione. Oh. And you'll notice here I put selenium, but only need this if you're in North America, because if you're in the UK, you might not be selenium deficient at all. Silymarin, but not if you're on a cellular detox. Curcuminoids, but not if you're on a true full cellular detox. Then you have methylation, B vitamins, SME. There's a number of different things that help this process. Sulfonation, sulfur-containing vegetables, onions and garlic, and leeks. Yeah, you can put the leeks in. Leeks. So onions, garlic, leeks, broccoli, fantastic for overall detoxification and definitely raise and make these pathways work better. Caffeine can actually help this pathway as well. And then acetylation. Oh, look, NAC is back in again. Look at that. I remember to put it in here. And acetylcysteine. And then glucuronidation. Now, calcium D-glucarate. So we're not talking about an ordinary calcium supplement, but calcium D-glucarate, really good for this process, especially good for women for detoxifying xenoestrogens. And one of my favorite supplements for the summer, astaxanthin, also very, very useful. So probiotics, again, very, very useful for detoxification of molds. And then you have different kinds of binders like activated charcoal. Chlorophyll apparently can be very useful as well. And here's a brand name, Toxaprevent, a particular kind of clay, very, very useful. silicol gel that you can find in Superdrug. It's a silicon-based one, but again, can really help latch onto lots of different toxins. Modified citrus pectin, that's great because it can get into your blood and lock toxins up in your blood. Activated charcoal, again, for the gut, fiber for the gut. And there's all kinds of different ways to take them and different amounts. But I just wanted to give you an overview of all the different possibilities. But remember, it's you who decides you're going to get healthier or not. And it's not your doctor. It's not the disease that decides. It's you that decides you're going to take action, whether it's by increasing the amount of brassica vegetables and self-containing vegetables and taking lots of ginger and garlic, or you can just do nothing. But if you do have heart disease, especially if doctors aren't really sure where it's come from, they just say it's genetic. If they say it's genetic, what gene is it? Because depending on the gene will depend on what nutrients may actually help you overcome it. You may need much more of a certain thing, or you may need to exercise more, exercise less. There's all kinds of different things. But if you don't take action, especially if it's mold and toxins, they're just going to accumulate and get worse. And most drugs are toxic and make the whole situation worse. So what's next? Well, the next step for you is you could reach out. You could go through my 5-day free detox training. And you can take some of the stuff we've learned here and take some of those supplements along with the 5-day detox program. Or you could actually take the next step up and see if you could go through one of our intense detox protocols, either the 7-day version or there's a 90-day program. And we can actually build you a specific plan as well. But next week, we're going to be talking about hydration. And it's not just about drinking water. I'm going to give you a bit more information on that. And if you want to reach out to me, you can find me at beatbloodpressure.com or bodyimbalanceuk.com. Or you can find me on Facebook or Instagram and reach out either via Beat Blood Pressure or through Body Imbalance or Chris Pickard, I think it is. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing there. I'm going to say bye-bye to Facebook and bye-bye to the recording.